Hi, Steve here with a pickup video. Just going to show you some of the trash I picked up over the past couple of weeks. Some video games and movies, fun stuff like that. Not only did I pick up some stuff at the Goodwills and thrift shops, but I got a few packages from some buddies. I'm sure anyone who watches my show knows who Tight White is. If not, go check him out. He puts a lot of creativity into his videos, and he puts a lot of work into his hustling and buying and trading and selling. Anyway, really great dude. I'm really glad I've gotten to know him a little bit over the internet and texting. Anyway, so Tight White sends me packages here and there. I send him packages too, usually laser discs. I don't have any games that he doesn't have, but I can find some laser discs he's into. Sometimes we send packages back and forth. So I got a new one from T-Dub here. I'll start off by reading the letter he sent for me. To my buddy Steve Gutenberg. I didn't clean off any of this shit, but I thought, what the hell? Shad was unavailable to clean. So here it is. Just some of my doubles. Hope you can put some good use to it. That shirt is limited edition. And I mean very limited. Peace, bro. T-Dub. So let's see this shirt he's talking about. As far as I know, there's only been 2 of these made. And I wonder who designed this thing. Oh yeah. I wonder if I wear this to the SEC Gamers Expo, anyone will recognize Tight White from California. Because he has quite a big following, but actually it's probably too big for me after I lost some weight. It's cool. Yeah. So thanks, Tight White. If anyone else wants one, send $100 to Tight White. I'm sure he can arrange something. And then he sent me a box full of goodies on top of that, and I kind of feel bad. I never sent him this many good things in his packages. Anyway, let's get to it though. Check this out. He sent me a stack of these SNL DVDs back from the 90s when SNL was good. I used to watch it all the time. This is one of my favorite shows back then. I didn't know that he knew I liked SNL. I think he just wanted something to pack the case with, but I'm glad to have these. You got 25th anniversary. You got Eddie Murphy, Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, and this is my favorite one, Phil Hartman. I used to watch this video all the time. I love Phil Hartman's impersonations. This is some funny stuff. If I recommend just one of these, it would be Phil Hartman. This is hilarious stuff. Molly Shannon, Mary Catherine Gallagher. Even got Mike Myers. This has got all these guys from the 90s that were great, early 90s. Chris Farley. And then Chris Rock. Everyone was on Saturday Night Live back then. Okay, so check this out. This guy sent me a bunch of Genesis games. I don't have a huge Genesis collection, so I'm happy to get anything Genesis. These are not clean, but these things are durable. It's got dirt and crud and hairballs on it. And I don't know what this white stuff is. Anyway, Mortal Kombat Genesis. I never had this game. I hear this is the best version. I enjoyed the Super Nintendo one. But have this now. Cool, cool. And here is Clue. I wonder how that translates to a video game, Clue. My wife is a big fan of this game. I like the movie from the 80s. Batman Forever. I hear mixed things about this, but it looks really cool to me, the graphic style. And here's one that was on my wish list. I don't know if he knew about this, but this is a game I've been wanting. I've always wanted it for Super Nintendo or Sega CD or Genesis, but I could never find it. It's a Flashback, kind of a cyberpunky looking sci-fi platformer, kind of cinematic looking game. It was really ahead of its time. It's by that Delphine Software that did Out of This World, and Out of This World was one of my favorite games back then. Kind of that cinematic, realistic movement, kind of platforming. These games were really ahead of their time, so I'm glad I can finally have that. I say I'm gonna play it, but I get all these games every week and I'm never gonna have time to play them. I'm just gonna put them in my library, and then sometime when I retire I can play them in all my free time. And here's the not for resale Sonic 2. I think I have this in the box, so I have an extra one now. I think that's a common game. I would give it to someone, but I think everyone already has this. Check this out, Mickey Mania. This looks really good. And here's one I've always wanted. I always hear people talk trash about it, but I've always wanted to try it. I was too embarrassed to buy it back then because people would make fun of me. But it's a Shaq Fu. This was actually a game on my wish list too. I don't think he knew about this. Just some of these games, those happen to be games that I was looking for. Check this out. He sent me some Dreamcast games. My Dreamcast collection is small, but I have all the things I like for Dreamcast. I have like Shenmue and House of the Dead and the Resident Evils and Omicron, the Nomad Soul. But check this out. Tite sent me some video games. The Sega Sports NFL. This is a dead series. Back then there was the Sega Sports was competing with the Maddens. And I heard from quite a few people back then that the Sega Sports ones were actually pretty good. Anyway, I just love the graphic style of the Dreamcast. A Game Shark for Dreamcast. I think I have a Code Breaker, but I didn't have the Game Shark. Cool, cool. I can cheat on some of those hard Dreamcast games I can't beat. Check this one out. My wife and I used to really love these games. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I didn't have this one, so it's awesome to have that. Sega Bass Fishing. I don't know if you need that little fishing reel controller to play that. NHL 2000. Wow. And this is the Sega Sports game as well. Cool, cool. And then he sent me some Burn games, and this is really cool because I just got rid of this game. I sold it to a friend. Street Fighter Third Strike. I thought, well, I'm just gonna sell mine and I'm gonna burn my own copy, but I never got around to it. So now I have a burned copy of Street Fighter 3 on Dreamcast, which is cool. And then here's another fighting game series I like, King of Fighters. This one's King of Fighters Evolution. It looks like the same cover as 98 or 97. I forget which one that is. Anyway, that's cool to have this. I want to start burning more games from my Dreamcast. I hear it's not that great for the laser reader, but I don't know. I used to play burnt games on it all the time. Alright, and then some PlayStation 2 games. And PlayStation 2 wasn't my console of choice back then in the 5th gen. Is that what it was? 5th? I was an Xbox guy and a GameCube over PlayStation any day. I've really started to like PlayStation 2 lately though because the games are easy to find. I'm starting to have a pretty big library of PlayStation 2 games. Mostly because of Tight White. He's always sending me his doubles, but anyway, I'm starting to dig PlayStation 2. I probably played PlayStation 2 more the last couple of years than I have in my whole life. Anyway, Medal of Honor Frontline. This is a great game I played on Xbox. This is a really cool first-person shooter at World War II game. The guy who does the music for this is phenomenal. I'll get back to that later. Gran Turismo 3. I think this is my third copy of this, but this is a quality game. Flipnik Ultimate Pinball. That's a pretty cool thing to have. I didn't have this pinball game. I wish I could show some video footage. I don't have any capture footage or anything. And a GameCube game is mixed up in there. I love GameCube. Anytime I see one, I pick it up. But here's the Dance Dance Revolution Mario mix. So I wonder if I could use the controller to play this, or I need that Dance Dance Revolution pad. I'm not doing that. It's probably good exercise, but I go to the gym, so I'm burnt out. I want to do more physical stuff at home. Actually, that'd be the last game I'd want to play in my downtime, but maybe my girls will like it. Naval Ops Commander. This kind of looks like Battleship or something on the back. I don't know, it looks pretty cool. Looks like a tactical naval battleship game. You know, I'm a big Jaws fan. Got my Jaws shirt and my Jaws poster back there. Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. Here's a Jaws Unleashed. This is a silly game, but anything with Jaws I love. Splashdown, that's a cool looking jet ski game. DT Racer. I never really heard of that one. I wonder if it's any good. And then MX versus ATV Unleashed. I already had that one. So. But all of these ATV games are fun. Alright, so thanks Tight White for all the goodies. You don't have to send me all this stuff. He gets carried away when he sends me packages. I thought I was just going to get the shirt. I said, yeah, I'll send you some laser discs for a t-shirt, but then he sends me all these other goodies on top of it. Yeah, so hit up Tight White, $200 a shirt if you're interested. I know he's not looking to mass produce them, so I'll just say $300 a shirt if you're interested. Hit him up. My good internet buddy Manuel from Gamers Manuel, his channel's blowing up too, for a good reason too. That guy gets incredible deals every week, and he's such a humble, polite guy too. But he gets it done. He goes out to the yard sales and the thrift stores early and gets all of these good deals. I've mentioned him before, but this guy's incredible. His videos, I think he's blowing up. People are catching on to this guy is something else. I mentioned I like that fighting game, the dinosaur fighting game, Jurassic Park Warpath, and he said, let me send you one. I have 2 of them. And I said, I don't know if I have anything that you need, because this guy finds everything. So I don't think I would have something that he needs. But he said, no, I'll just send it to you. I'll give it to you as a gift. And I felt bad because I don't really have any games I could give this guy. But anyway, he sent me this. I found something to repay his kindness already. But here is Jurassic Park Warpath. This is a game my brother and I used to play a lot. It's a fighting game. It's ridiculous, the premise. It's the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, fighting tournament style, like Tekken style, in a fighting game. They even have throws. The dinosaurs do like judo throws, and they bite a hold of the other one, do like a judo throw with their mouth. They probably have pro wrestling moves. It's just a silly game, but I thought it looked really good for the time. That music composer I was talking about earlier that did the Medal of Honor did the music for this. It's really great. It's really good epic orchestral music. And this guy back then, this is probably 15 or 20 years ago, that did the music for this. He ended up being the guy that did the music for the new Jurassic Park movies. So it's kind of funny that he started off with the video games doing these music. And I remember his music always sounded good to me. But now he's doing big Hollywood movies, like the biggest movies out there. And he's actually did Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2. but who would have thought 15 years ago, or maybe 15 or 20 years ago, composed Jurassic Park music for a game like this, and then 20 years later do the actual Jurassic Park movies, the $300 million movies. Anyway, thanks Manuel for this this video game. I'll get you back, I promise. Okay, with the rest of my hustle money from that Texas Instrument graphing calculator I sold, I ended up getting a bunch of good stuff with that $3 investment. I got Street Fighter Anniversary, I got Sega Genesis Collection, and a few other games. But then I used up the rest of that money to get one of my favorite games of all time, Shenmue. I got the Shenmue 1 and 2 collection for PlayStation 4, and it's still one of my favorite games. Despite all of the bugs in here, it's kind of embarrassing, an old game, 17 years old. They can't port it over right. It has all kinds of glitches and bugs. But still, even with that, this is still one of my favorite games. I can get past all of the little glitches and really take this in for what it is, a masterpiece. I'll admit it's a slow game. It's not for everyone, especially if you've never played it before. This is your first time coming in. You really have to have an open mind to experience this. This is like a life simulator, kind of like 80s Japanese culture, kind of a martial arts themed. Lots of really good philosophy, like a lot of positive messages come out of these games, and I appreciate stuff like that. This game does make you feel like an idiot a lot of the time, but you just got to have some patience with it, and it turns into a really great experience. I played through Shenmue 1 already and platinumed it. I'm working on Shenmue 2. I want to platinum that too. Man, I think the more I play these games, the more I like them. It's kind of like Back to the Future. Like every time you watch Back to the Future, it gets better and you notice something different. You pick up little things. This game has so many little details that you don't pick up the first time. The first time you play it through, it's kind of like, what is this? This is a slow game, kind of tedious, monotonous. You have a schedule, you have an allowance, you have to be home at a certain time, you have to get a job, you have to do a lot of waiting around. But like everything in this game is so detailed. There's so the world is so immersive. Anywhere you go, there's something to look at, even if it's nothing fun. There's always a little story to everything you look at in here. Then part 2 really steps it up. Part 2, I think it's a really underrated open world adventure. You can't imagine the amount of detail put into these environments. Every little, you can be in a great big city and go inside of an apartment building, and there's like a little shopping mall inside of these apartment buildings, so there's all kinds of places you can go everywhere, outside and inside. But anyway, the story is top notch. Kind of a very simple story of a kid seeking revenge, but there's a lot of stuff between the lines going on here. It's a simple story on the surface, a kid seeking revenge for the murder of his father, but there's so much more in the story going on between the lines. A lot of stuff you can get out of the story just from talking to people, and the voice acting is cheesy as heck. I agree, but boy, is it charming to me. All of these characters on the street that you run into, they almost feel like real people. Like there are goofy people in real life, and this game reflects that. Anyway, I highly recommend this. I could gush about this game all day long, but I better get on. Okay, I got a bunch of goodies at this yard sale for really cheap. I didn't get up early enough. I should have been up early to go to this place. It looked like he had some kind of a nerd store or comic store, and he must have had all of his stuff in storage and went out of business. But there was all kinds of like train sets and board games and video games and movies and cards, collector cards. This guy had all kinds of stuff, and I got there too late. All the games were gone. I guess I hear he was giving out really good deals earlier on, but there was some video game related stuff I picked up from him. I got all this stuff for $12, and I got some pretty good stuff here. Starting off with the official player's guide of Phantasy Star 4. I started playing Phantasy Star 4 last year and I really enjoyed it, but then I got sidetracked with other stuff. But now that I have this, it's going to be a cakewalk. This has... I'm really glad I have this guide for Phantasy Star 4. From what I played of it so far, it is so much better than Phantasy Star 2, which I like. I beat Phantasy Star 2 last year, or maybe the beginning of this year, but that was a chore. I'm really pleased with myself for completing it, but that was a tough game to beat. Phantasy Star 4 seems to be paced a lot faster with a lot more story. and it doesn't seem quite as confusing, the map and the dungeons and all that. And now I have that guide on top of that, so I can get through the game when I play it. Man, I'm really happy to have that for $2. Some of the other stuff at the yard sale, I got 2 of these. These were $2 a piece. Some USB Nintendo controllers. So these will be really good for playing emulators on my computer. I could even hook this up to my Retro Bro Pi to play a Nintendo game. This is the way to play Nintendo games. These feel really good. They look just like Nintendo controllers, USB style. So I got 2 of those for $4. He had this in a pile of stuff. I think he didn't know about it. It was a PS2 memory card. He gave it to me for $1. And then I got a pile of instruction books or directions, video game manuals. And these are not all of them. I've given some away to my friends. Anything left here, let me know if anyone needs them that's watching this. I'll give them to you. NFL Blitz 2000 N64. Pokemon Stadium 2. It looks like this one's damaged. The front cover. Mickey's Speedway USA. Then on to Nintendo. Mega Man 2. The Black Bass. Ikari Warriors. Tetris. Town and Country Surf Designs. Looks like someone wrote their name on this. Spy Hunter. Little Nemo the Dream Master. That's a fun game. DuckTales. Woo! Championship Bowling. And American Gladiators. Oh, one more. Total Recall. I don't know anything about Mars. Oh, and then I got this Nintendo Power poster. I'm keeping that for myself. Or no, it's just a Nintendo poster. These things used to come with all the games. I don't have any more, so I'm keeping that. And then some Game Boy manuals. Kirby's Pinball Land. Mortal Kombat. A really crappy port, but I loved this thing back then. Just the idea of having Mortal Kombat on my Game Boy. I could take Mortal Kombat anywhere. And I thought it looked pretty decent for Game Boy, but it was garbage. Super Mario Land, awesome game. And Alleyway, another awesome game, kind of like Arkanoid. Love that game. So I got all that stuff, the guide, the memory card, the controllers, and the manuals, and then more that I've already given away. Got all that for $12. So anyone needs any of these manuals, hit me up. At the thrift store, I got a high output TDK cassette tape sealed. I got 2 of those. My daughter ran off with one though, so I got these for 25 cents a piece. Dr. No, and then another one, 25 cents Dr. No. 2 separate Dr. No's. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Anytime I see anything James Bond, I pick it up, especially if it's 25 cents. What's so important about Crab Key? Why can't we go there? I got a sealed Top Gun for 25 cents. One of my favorite early 90s action buddy movies, The Last Boy Scout, Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. Got Labyrinth for 25 cents. A sealed E.T. for 25 cents. For 95 cents, I got Raging Sharks to put in my crappy shark movie collection. I have quite a big crappy shark movie collection. I'm a sucker for crappy shark movies. For 50 cents, I got King Kong on HD DVD. I picked this up for Slow CVC. I know he collects these, but obviously he already had this one. So if anyone else collects these, let me know. And then I got Behind Enemy Lines on UMD. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or give it to someone. I got that for 99 cents. I have quite a big UMD collection. I never watch them, but I have quite a few good movies on UMD. I got this for a couple bucks, Starsky and Hutch for the Nintendo GameCube, and that's complete. The manual is kind of crinkled, but I hear this one's pretty fun. Like, you could do 2-player, one guy drives, one guy shoots. I like the old show. It looks like it's based on the old show. The old show is The Business. Oh, here's one of my favorite action movies from the early 90s, Surviving the Game with Ice-T. Rutger Hauer's in there, Gary Busey, F. Murray Abraham, Charles S. Dutton. It had a pretty impressive cast. Pretty good action movie, like a manhunt movie, sort of like that short story. Is it called The Most Deadly Game? Anyway, I've always liked movies like this. Those manhunt movies are pretty suspenseful. This one has a good cast of some villains in here. Ice-T picks them off one by one. There's some pretty good characters. And I didn't have Mad Max on DVD. I picked that up for $1. This movie's really disturbing to me. I always thought this movie is terrifying. These people are savages, the bad guys in here. And then I got Bullet to Beijing with Michael Caine. This is part of that Harry Palmer series. Harry Palmer. But I like the Ipcris File. That's one of my favorite old espionage movies. And then for a couple dollars I picked up this rock candy Wiimote. And it came with a nunchuck. And then there was a white nunchuck in there and a black nunchuck. It was in a little bag for $2. I didn't notice it didn't have a battery cover. But I think I could get a few bucks credit for these at GameStop. Anyway, what a idiot. Okay, that's it for this week. I'll see you next time I do a pickup video. Bye, fellas.